Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1973-76 Carryover League. We are in the final wild card battle in the American League. It's the Oakland A's and the Minnesota Twins for that final spot in the Elite Eight to advance to the divisional round. The winner will take on the number 1 seed Baltimore Orioles in the American League. A story of 2 levels of achievement. The overachieving Twins, the underachieving A's throughout the year. The Twins are a good story. We've talked about it a lot. Let's pause on them for a moment. Let's take a deep dive into Oakland, though. They are the defending world champs, right? This is why you saw it in the opening credits, you know. This is why the scoreboard has green and gold. When you win the World Series, you decorate the board to your colors, and everybody else gets reminded of what happened a year ago, and they stay this color until you lose your championship. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to losing your title, I haven't had a repeat winner in my carryover league. Ever. And it's hard. Maybe it's the competitive nature of things. The fact of how the draft is done. You pick 32nd in a sport that only had 24 teams. So that might deter a little bit of the, reasons for that. We could take a deeper dive into team stats from the World Championship a year ago. That seems reasonable. Your Oaktown A's. So let's look at them a year ago. Winning it all. They were 35-13. They really crushed the sport a year ago. The A's. We didn't really get a chance to look at this much this year, but this is what they did a year ago. They just lit up everybody. The only series they lost all year was an interleague battle best-of-3 to the Atlanta Braves, which hardly consequential. They ran this thing pole to pole, blasted out of the gates in April all the way through the World Series. And let's start with some silliness here. The bench was Larry Brown, who had a 180-something strat card. Pat Corrales is also a 180 strat card. And Rusty Torres, who actually managed to match his stats. That's how bad their bench was. It didn't even matter, They had the 272 average, which probably is better than any of the 4 years of their dynasty. 347 on base, that kind of makes sense. 38 homers in, 48 games? That's a small number of games because they were dusting their opponents, Raleigh Fingers, all 17 saves with a 0.71 ERA and 87-cent whip. So that it was lights out if they had the lead. Probably didn't blow any saves. Catfish Hunter, 14-1 with that incredible 1972 card. Kenny Olson backing him up. The 2 guys they got in the Vita Blue trade were actually these guys. They didn't do very good, but they got rings, and they're gone now. Also gone is this guy, Mike Hegan, who at 344 led the club in hitting. Led the club in hits. Here's a little story under the radar. He had 67 hits in our game, and he's gone. He was let go in free agency, and maybe that's on the list of why the A's have been just kind of so-so this year. Now let's take since we're doing this dive, let's complete the dive by looking at their schedule. So Oakland opened up their season losing 3 out of 4 to the Tigers. Interleague battle, lost 2 straight to their Bay Area San Francisco Giants. Lost 3 out of 4 to Baltimore. And then the cupcakes are put in the oven. The American League West. They beat the Angels 4 straight. They beat Seattle 4 games to 3. And they beat Texas 4 games to 1. Then in the tournament, their battles again weren't particularly clean in this year's tournament. They opened up, of course, against the Angels, who were in second, I believe, yeah. And they beat them 3 games to 2, which is nice. That puts them just 3 games over 500 at this point. Then against the top seeds, they played the White Sox, and the White Sox beat them 3 games to 2, which just put them 2 games over 500, winning their division in this series today. That's all Oakland has done, trying to defend their title. They lost to Detroit, Baltimore, and the White Sox, all teams still around, or theoretically still around. Detroit lost their series to Ohio players. But there's nobody of consequence they've played. So that's the big setup for you folks. And now we'll take a look at what's happened. Game 1. In Oakland, Minnesota, Oakland. Minnesota feeling confident. Minnesota feeling spry. Minnesota feeling like they can do this, and they can at least get a road win here. Bert Blyleven, Catfish Hunter. Starter 9, starter 8. First inning, Carew, base hit, steals a base. Larry Heisel, RBI single, 1-0. Heisel's caught stealing the end of the threat. 4th inning, Jim Holt, Joltin' Jim Holt, having himself a year. Solo shot. By the way, as I look in the box, I just noted that Eric Soderholm went 4 for 4 in this game, but he didn't score a run or knock in a run. It all fell for naught. 2-0 Twins, bottom of the 4th inning. Joe Rudy doubles with 2 outs. Sal Bando doubles. It's a 2-1 game. Stays this way, bottom of the 7th, and the A's get a rally going here. You have a couple singles. You get a Steve Olivares single to tie the game. Runners on the corners, nobody out. But Blyleven's a starter 9. They leave him in there. He gets a strikeout of Olivares. And then Rusty Torres, interesting, he rolls 2-4 on this card. He's got a homer on 3-4. More on that later. He's got a homer on 3-4. He rolls 2-4, which is center B question mark. And they elect to run tennis against Bostock. He gets cut down at the plate. So the A's do not take the lead. And you're thinking, okay, all right, it's a 2-2 game, but the Twins are going to pull this one out. Catfish Hunter has other ideas. 3 up and 3 down in the 8th. Bottom of the inning. Blyleven strikes out Claudio Washington. He strikes out Campaneris. Remember, he's a starter 9. It's Bert Blyleven. He's gotten like 8 or 9 complete games this year. But with 2 outs and nobody on, it's a single to Rudy, a walk to Reggie, and Bando gets the single off of the Blyleven card. That's an RBI single. That's baseball, folks. That's how the game's played. Okay, it's 3-2 Oakland, their first lead of the game. Somewhat head scratcher, but my goodness, these are the Oakland A's. Why should they be the underdogs, right? So after 8 innings, they take Hunter out. They just say, okay, we're going to. Phil Roof is leading off in the 9th, and he's got homers on 1, 5, 6, and 7. So Oakland says, we're not going to let this guy tie the game this easily. Let's get a lefty to third of this dude. It's Dave Tomlin. He throws up a single off the Phil Roof card versus lefties. They reach space. And then the Twins are proactive. They say, let's get a pinch runner in there for Phil Roof. And they get Steve Bry. He's a 15 pinch runner. Okay, great. He's at first base, but Jim Holt hits into a fielder's choice. So now Jim Holt is a 10 runner at first. That's kind of a bad luck. You go from a 15 to a 10 because of a fielder's choice. Ground ball C, a bunt, anything. Holt can't bunt. Holt's a 300 hitter anyway. But so, of course, Soderholm would double. off his card. And if you're trying to run the guy from first, the 15 will run. The 10 with 1 out against a -2 arm center fielder isn't going to run. And by the way, by this point, Raleigh Fingers is in the game. He came in as soon as Tomlin gave up that single to Roof. And of course, with second and third and 1 out, Raleigh Fingers versus Hall of Famer Tony Oliva, strikeout. And then they're down to just Bobby Darwin, who hit 25 homers for the Twins in that year, 73. He strikes out to end the game. Kind of a heartbreaking loss. But finally, this is what the Oakland A's actually did look like, folks, in 1972, 3 and 4. This is how they did it. They weren't ripping. They weren't a 100-win team. They were like a 92, 94-win team who did the right things when the playoffs mattered. There's this clean baseball, no dumb errors here, great starting pitching, a closer, situational, coming back in the 7th and 8th inning. This is Oakland. This is who they are. They get the win. So surely the Twins have some optimism in a game 2. Game 2, it is Bill Singer versus Kenny Holtzman. This game, Oakland takes control early. Rusty Torres, remember him? Of the sac fly that got thrown out the plate, rolling a 2-4? Well, he rolled a 3-4. It's a homer. Spoiler alert, does the same thing later in the game. 183 hitting Rusty Torres, that same Rusty Torres we saw who has a World Series ring on his finger when he hit 170 a year ago. He has 2 home runs in this game. Gene Tennis, solo home run. There was a lot of solo home runs hit by Bando and Tennis in the ALCS versus Baltimore. I think Baltimore had solo homers as well against the Oakland pitching. A lot of 1-0, 2-1 games. In the midst of all this, the A's also get a triple by Campaneris, a 2-base error by Darwin, RBI single by Reggie. You see what's happening, folks. This is the slow strangulation of the Minnesota Twins, and suddenly the offense has just come to a halt. The Twins do not much right at all in this game. They do get a Carew RBI triple with nobody out. They bring the infield up. Ground out, pop out, a walk, pop out. Can't bring Carew home for a second run. Bill Singer, 6 2/3, 7 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned. Kenny Holtzman, he went 8 innings, just like Catfish Hunter did. They don't need Raleigh Fingers in the 9th or Dave Tomlin. They go to Jim Todd, walks a couple guys, finishes the game. A's win 6-1, and this is easily the best we've seen the A's. They're certainly not dominating, but this is clearly the best we've seen the A's in quite some time. Right when they need to be. Right on schedule. Playoffs begun. And the Twins look out of place. But the scheduling, the Twins get a couple games at home, or at least one game at home, to see if they can right the ship. Don't forget, the Twins team had really struggled in the 69 and 70. As soon as the divisional alignment was set, the Twins lost 0-3 to Baltimore twice in 69 and 70. 0-6, 2 years. We're seeing a little bit of that here, possibly. Historical bend, if you are thinking that. And the pitching matchup now is not going to help the Twins either. For Oakland, they're going to go to number 3 starter Mike Torres. Arguably an improvement on the World Series number 3 starters of a year ago, who were Al Downing or Ken Holtzman. Mike Torres, his 76 Oakland card. So he's with the Oakland A's, but not during the dynasty years. In 76, he's a 16-game winner with a .250 ERA and 266 innings. Again, he's making a playoff start. He's making a potential elimination start. We know in 77, I believe the following year, he wins Game 6 of the World Series. I think it's Torres throws a complete game. Isn't that the Reggie Jackson 3-homer game? Anyway, either 77 or 78. One of those years when Torres is a Yankee. Actually, yeah, Torres wouldn't be a Yankee in 78. He's a Red Sox who throws the homer to Bucky Dent. Mike Torres, what a historical guy this guy is, huh? He should write a book. He's probably had an amazing life pitching for all those teams in the 1970s. Oh, by the way, I forgot. The Twins have a pitcher. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Twins are going to send out there Jerry Garvin. The curious case of Jerry Garvin. If you're wondering, here's a little story. Jerry Garvin actually was drafted by the Minnesota Twins, was in their farm system. Now, what happened was he was selected away by the Toronto Blue Jays in the expansion draft, which would be 1977. However, we're not there yet in 77. It's 1976. And lo and behold, Strat-O-Matic was proactive enough to create a Strat-O-Matic card for Jerry Garvin in the hopes that they could sell some Strat-O-Matic games in Seattle and Toronto to the new fan bases and say, hey, you guys can play just because your team is playing the inaugural season. We'll give you some cards. So on the back, it says Jerry Garvin, Toronto Blue Jays, 1976, of course, which is not even reality. That's okay. My season is completely unrealistic because it's a carryover league where players from different years are intermingling. That's the premise of this, right? So for Jerry Garvin, it just gives an estimated pitching record. It says overall effectiveness poor, control is average, ERA is poor, strikeout pitch is poor, but he's a Twin, or was a Twin, and he's there now. And again, the Twins were a last place team a year ago, and they drafted a bunch of really good guys to fill out most of this roster. But left-handed pitching, this is one of the weakest franchises in the sport. Jerry Garvin joins Jim Crawford and Vic Albury as the only guys to throw left-handed on this team. And now it comes at the worst possible time as they're down 0-2 in a potential elimination game. Oakland at Minnesota. What are we going to see, folks? Every time you've noticed this, and I've commented on this, I'll give you a narrative of what's happened. Then I'll turn the cameras on, I'll do a game, and everything changes. And you see some last place teams who get lambasted in the pregame analysis, and then they come out and look like champions. We saw Fergie Jenkins hit the Cincinnati Reds after I wrote the Cubs obituary. So that forebodes well for the Twins, that they can somehow keep this series going against the once big bad Oakland A's, potentially present big bad Oakland A's. Let's get started from the Twin Cities. Leading off, it'll be Bert Campaneris. 3-6, homer 1-5, fly ball, and there you go. But it didn't have YouTube on. That's probably a home run. But it's a fly ball there on a 9. Claude Washington. 1/8's a base hit for the ace stealer. Roof's a zero arm. They'll stay put for now. They really shouldn't take unnecessary risks against Garvin, you would think. It's Joe Rudy. Joe Rudy, 3-6, flies to center. And with 2 outs, it's Reggie. 1-4's hit by the pitch. He also got hit by the pitch in game 2. 2 on, 2 outs. Sal Bando. 57 off Garvin, his second X. And this is Carew. He's a 2-16, his last good defensive year at second base, and he makes the play. Bottom of the first, here is Rod Carew. 56 is double 1-2, a base hit. They got to be aggressive. Carew's going to attempt a stolen base. He's in there on a 2, the T rating of Duffy Dyer, today's catcher. He doesn't get it. He's at second. Good start. Larry Heisel. 1-2, hit by pitch. Getting plucky here, guys. There's some people standing up in the dugouts here. 2 hit by pitches in 2 innings. You got a frustrated Twins team in Oakland who's like, hey, you don't hit our guys. 2 on, Lyman Bostock. 2-7, Bostock's a single to center field. Carew, do you run out of this thing? No. You gotta just bases load, nobody out. Don't run out of this thing. Phil Roof, you need crooked numbers, Twins. You need to bat around here. Phil Roof, 69. There's your sac fly. See, 100% chance of scoring. instead of a question mark chance there. Sack fly, 1 zip, first and second 1 out for Jim Holt. Joltin' Jim Holt. 2-3, pops to short. And with 2 outs, it's Soderholm. 68 flies to right field. Again, Twins struggling with runners in scoring position. Top of the second. It's Darren Johnson. First start of the series, 1-7's a K. Gene Tennis, 1-7 is gone. Let's take a look at the tennis card of 1973. 24 bombs, 258 average, 101 walks. Yeah, this is the best card of his in the timeline. And so, yeah, he has often caught or played first or played designated hitter. Even had a start at second base in one game earlier in this season. We're tied at 1. Duffy Dyer getting the start against the lefty. 2-9 pops to second, as is Phil Garner getting that start. 37's a base hit. Back up top to Bert Campaneris. 63, pitcher X, Garvin. Oh boy. E38. Yeah. How do they know he's going to be an E38? He didn't pitch. He didn't play baseball. He was in the minor leagues. Yeah, whatever. It's a single, not an error. Okay. 2 on, 2 outs for Claudio Washington. 1-6, double 1 to 5. It is single ... and the A's have a lead. I guess if they made Jerry Garvin an E0 pitcher, okay, where it's like an automatic double play on an E0, they would have written something in the errata on the roster sheet. Please don't let Jerry Garvin pitch too much. It might alter the overall performance of the Toronto Blue Jays because of all the double plays he would turn on the mound. Okay. Just having some fun with you folks. All right. RBI single, Campaneris at third, Claudel at first, and it's Joe Rudy. 68, lines are short. All right. 2-1, Oakland. Now, if you're wondering about Garvin, yeah, we'd quick hook him. We need to get some length, though. Get it to at least the 4th inning. We do have Tom Murphy and, of course, Bill Campbell in the Twin bullpen, ready and waiting. They will most likely be in this game. They're very good, both of them. So, bottom of the second, it's going to be Tony Oliva, 6'11", left X. Joe Rudy's a 1E5. Don't hit it there. Bobby Darwin, 2'10", short. Dale Maxwell, 6'11", first X. Darren Johnson, 3'15", makes the play. Top of the third. Reggie, 56, lies to right. Sal Bando, 2-3, short. And Darren Johnson, 66, left. Nice inning for Garvin. Bottom of the third. Rod Carew, 2-3. Is a pop to first. Larry Heisel, 67, lines to short. And Lyman Bostock, 68, pops to short. 3 up and 3 down. Also, that's 8 in a row. 9 in a row by Torres. If you're wondering, one of the things we touted about the Twins was how much fun their lineup has been. They have run 2 lineups. A lineup versus right-handed pitching and a lineup versus left-handed pitching. All season. All through games 1 and 2. And so we had an internal debate. Did we suddenly change it up down to an elimination game? Or do we go down the way we've played all year and just assume that it's going to turn around and we'll get another crooked number inning or 2 or 3 with this great lineup we have? And we decided to leave it alone. So the Twins, to their benefit, are going to go down the way they've been going up all year with the same lineup. Mostly alternating lefties and righties. Carew, Heisel, Bostock, the slugging Phil Roof, Holt, Soderholm, Oliva, Darwin, Maxwell. This has been the lineup all year during the early season success. It's just that it's a really long slump at the worst possible time in their schedule. Top of the 4th. It's Gene Tennis. 66, flies to left. Duffy Dyer, 69, flies to right. And Phil Garner, 59, is a strikeout. And also, maybe, just maybe, folks, we need to tip the hat to this great Oakland pitching staff of Catfish Hunter, Kenny Holtzman, And now Mike Torres added to that. Arguably, possibly better than the starting three they had a year ago. And a slightly better bullpen with Dave Tomlin added to it. So that's something to consider for a team that had been on the skids, as the teams seemingly are going in vastly different directions. Phil Roof, 37's a K. Jim Holt, 1-8, lines of third. Soderholm, 411, right X. Reggie, 2E9. Can you get a break here? No. 12 in a row. It all was gangbusters at the start. And then, 5th inning. Burkamp and Harris, 5-10, catcher's X. Just a 2-1 game. The opener of the series was also a 2-1 game. Roof's a 2E6, makes the play. Claudel Washington, 210, grounds to second. And Joe Rudy, 63. Pitcher X, Jerry Garvin, again, he's an E38. He makes the error. Kind of want to get out of this inning there, Jerry. It's Reggie, maybe the last batter. 1-6. How many times we say this, folks? Let's take a look at Reggie. Reggie Jackson. What are you going to do? He rolls on his own card. He is your 1973 American League Most Valuable Player with 32 home runs, a 293 average, 76 walks, 28 doubles, 2 triples. Doesn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed. He's Mr. October. And Reggie with a soul-crushing 2-run homer off Jerry Garvin. And all the second-guessers out there. And, of course, the manager goes to the mound to a cascade of boos to pull Garvin after 4 2/3 after the hay is let out, after the horse has been let out of the barn. And the hay is not in it. So with that, they're going to go to Tom Murphy now in the 5th. Tom Murphy wasn't a Twin. He was a Brewer in 74. 10-10 with a 1.90 ERA and 123 innings. Really nice card for him. And the right side of the bullpen is outstanding for the Twins. And he'll face Sal Bando. 4-4. Oh, homer 1 of 13. And when we look up, comfortably, barely under the threshold, it is gone. Off of Tom Murphy. Sal Bando, it's 5-1 A's. Darren Johnson, 67, is a strikeout. 5-1 Oakland and a potential sweep. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
The one pitcher Oakland would like to hide in the playoffs is their number 4 starter, their second lefty, Dave Hamilton. And the reason is he's better suited to be a reliever. He's a relief starter. Actually, he's a starter relief. But he's got an advantageous split versus lefty on lefty, which makes him very valuable in the bullpen. But as a starter, you could load up. Playoff teams with a lot of right-handed bats could load up against Hamilton. And that's something the A's have to hide. They don't have to worry about it here, as he may not pitch in this series. Very important for Oakland to hold on to this 5-1 lead here. Bottom of the 5th, it's Torres to Tony Oliva. 1-7, double one, base hit. Bobby Darwin. 2-10, 6-4-3, double play. And Dale Maxwell. 3-6 is a base hit. And Rod Carew. 1-7, base hit. Third hit of the inning. 2 on, 2 outs for Larry Heisel. 2-8 is a ground ball to short. Who are these guys? Who are these guys from Minnesota? Are they the last place team in their division a year ago? There has been a regression. Top of the 6th. It's Gene Tennis. 36 is a K. Duffy Dyer, 69, flies to center. Phil Garner, 33, flies to right. Bottom of the 6th, Torres the starter, 7. Lyman Bostock, 46 is a walk. Down 4, he'll stay it over at first. Phil Roof. 411, right X. It's Reggie. He's a 2E9. Right, 2E9 in right field. He catches it. Jim Holt. 44. Center B. And with 2 outs, Eric Soderholm. 46. Single 1 to 19. I'll get it. 2 on, 2 outs. Big moment for Hall of Famer Tony Oliva. Let's take a look at Tony's card. Ooh, and where we're at in the game, folks, this could be the final. Well, actually, Oliva has more years left. I'm thinking this could be the end of his career, but no, they'll bring him back if this is an elimination moment. Tony Oliva with an outstanding year in 73, going to full-time DH. He can't run anymore. His legs are shot. He had an injury. They kept him out of 1972. He's now just a 1-8 runner E-stealer. That's so sad considering what he once was. But he still can swing it. 291 average, 16 home runs for Tony. Big moment here if the Twins are to make a comeback. Here's the pitch to Tony Oliva. 1-8 is a roller to third. Right in the middle of the column. Oh boy. Top of the 7th. Murphy continues. Burkamp and Harris. 48, second X. Carew makes the play. Claudel Washington, 110's a base hit. A-stealer with Joe Rudy up. He'll stay put. 1-9 Rudy, base hit to left field. CW, does he go coast? He will run against the highest arm to go coast to coast with 1 out, and he makes it. So up and hold for Reggie. There's a mound visit, but yeah, Murphy's better than the lefties they have. They'll pitch to Reggie. Here's the pitch. 45 off the Murphy card is a single to right field. That'll score a run. Rudy, will he go coast to coast against the Darwin arm? No. Rudy will stay at second. And unfortunately for the Twins, that is a point of weakness for Tom Murphy. This is 3rd inning of relief. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. It is now 6-1. Well, I guess you go Bill Campbell at this point. The last switch you can throw. Murphy goes an inning and 2/3. Well, the good news is Bill Campbell can pitch through to the 9th. He could hit his point of weakness in the 9th. Bill Campbell, 74, 8-7 with a 2.63 ERA and 120 innings. He'll win 17 games, I believe, in 76. He comes on in the 7th inning with runners at first and second and 1 out to face Sal Bando. 46, base hit left field, and they're going station to station. Oh, maybe not. Rudy, he's got a run against the noodle arm of Heisel, +2. And he's thrown out on a 17, so they got a little greedy there. Didn't have to run with 1 out. Decided to anyway. Run Rudy against a +2 arm outfielder. Just didn't work out for Oakland. And there is some relief for the Twins. Reggie ends up at third base, Bando at first. 2 outs. And it's going to be number 6 hitter Darren Johnson. 39 is a walk. Reloading the bases with 2 outs for Gene Tennis. 2-9 is a hit by the pitch, and that will score Reggie. It is 7-1 for Duffy Dyer. 56 is a K. Well, early day of baseball here. I did not expect this kind of a series. I have to say, I thought this might be the first 5-gamer in the best-of-5 format, and it has not been anything like that at all. We have been listening to the wonderful Teddy Pendergrass singing for Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. This 1975 Wake Up Everybody LP. Wake Up Everybody, this wonderful duet with Sharon Page. You Know How to Make Me Feel So Good. Don't Leave Me This Way. Probably the best rendition of that popular covered classic. Great stuff by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Back to the game. Bottom of the 7th. Mike Torres will continue. Bobby Darwin, 6'10". Short X, Campaneris is a 2E27. There's an error. And the door is cracked open. Dale Maxwell. He needs to draw one of those many walks on his card. 65, center. Carew, 66, single 1 to 10. Gotta catch it. He does. 2 on, 1 out. And it's Heisel. 48, second X. Now, they didn't bring in Dick Green, so this is Phil Garner. He's a 3-27 at second base. You get a ground ball C. Runners move up. 2 outs. Lyman Bostock. Let's take a look at another twin card. Here's Bostock's 76 debut, or I think he debuted in 75, but 76 is his first big year. 323. Magnificent center fielder. Tragic end to his life later in the decade. The big public feud with Calvin Griffith in Minnesota. Also part of that. He got the California Angels, but tragedy would befall him, unfortunately. Here's the pitch. 2-8. Eden Bostock gets the single to left field. 1 run scores. Carew, 17. You got to run here. Get some runs, and he does score. We got a 7-3 game. They're within a grand slam with 2 outs. And this is what you need. You need to fill Roof with a 2-run shot here off of Torres, who's being left in the game as he's not hit his point of weakness yet. So this is a great opportunity for the Twins to get back into this thing. They're going to pitch to Phil Roof. Here's the pitch. 55 off Torres is double 1 to 10 is a base hit. That'll put runners on the corners. And that'll do it. 6 2/3. All right. It's 6 2/3 for Torres. The runners are charged to him. And the A's need to collect 7 more outs. They've been in these situations many, many times. They're going to go Bob Locker here in the 7th. Bob collected a World Series ring for Oakland in 72, but this is a 73 card. He also, by the way, pitched for the Seattle Pilots in 69. 73 with the Cubs, he's 10-6, 2.55 ERA in 106 innings. He's asked to get the final out in the 7th. He's good against lefties, and 2 of them are coming up in the next 3 batters. So Bob Locker in the 7th against Jolton Jim Holt. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. 57 is a K. The runners are stranded. It's a 7-3 game. Bill Campbell will continue into the 8th inning. It's Phil Garner. 2-5 grounds a short. Oakland now puts Dick Green in the Garner spot to play defense at the bottom of the inning. Back up top to Campaneris. 3-11 flies to center, and Claudel Washington. 4-12 flies to left. He will also leave the game, replaced in center field by Rusty Torres. If you're wondering, Claudel Washington has been forced to play center field for most of the last 2 years because they just don't have access to Bill North, who would have been the spark plug and leadoff hitter and good defensive center fielder for the Oakland A's, making them even more dynamic than they already are. But that's what happens in an expansion league. You can't protect all your guys. So Bill North, if you're wondering why he's not here, he's on the Seattle Mariners, a team in the American League West. Seattle's vain attempt to catch the A's, take their players if you can, So that's that story. As they go to the bottom of the 8th of a 7-3 game, Locker will continue. Again, they have all their defense in with Torres and Green. 6 outs to get, 4-run lead. Fingers is available for the 9th. Leading off in the 8th, it's Eric Soderholm. 2-4 grounds a short. And this is practically Tony Leva's final at-bat with his 73 card. 48, he draws a walk. Don't really need to pinch run for him unless it's your... Yeah, let's leave that alone for now. You're down 4. Bobby Darwin. 5-10 is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Dale Maxwell. And frankly, Maxwell gets on more than with walks, which is what they need. He's got a nice on-base percentage versus the bench guys getting a hit. Here's the pitch to Maxwell. 48's a single off a Locker. That's what you do. Want to lose a Strat-O-Matic? Give up singles to 192 number 9 hitters. And it's Carew. This is the guy Locker wants, the lefty. The bet, second Hall of Famer in the inning after Oliva. Here's the pitch to Rod Carew. 5'10" is catcher's X. And this is Dyer. He's a 3E5. And he makes the play. It's a ground ball C, and the inning's over. Well, they left 2 men on the 7th. They left 2 men in the 8th. Not getting the timely hits. Not getting the home runs. And not winning the game. 7-3, we go to the 9th. Campbell will finish. It'll be Joe Rudy. 68, flies to center. Reggie changed the game completely in the 5th inning. Off of Garvin with a home run. 2-4, flies to right. And Bando, 2-6, single one of 12, gets it. Darren Johnson, 1-3, grounds a third. Bottom of the 9th, you go fingers here. You got to go fingers. It's not a safe situation with a 4-run lead. They'll go fingers, though. Thinking they can get 3 outs before the Twins score 4 runs in a sweep attempt. Trying to repeat a little bit of history with the Twins getting bounced in a best-of-5 series. Raleigh Fingers comes on in the 9th. And will face Larry Heisel. 67's a K. Lyman Bostock. 3-5, you saw the card, it's a base hit. He'll just go down to second without a throw from the catcher. He's at second base now for Phil Roof. 3-8 is a K, and disappointing finish to the season for Roof, who had a lot of home runs on his card that just haven't rolled them. And lastly, it's Jim Holt. This could be the final at-bat of his career. What a neat year he had with this card. Jim Holt, 1973 Twins, 297 average, 11 home runs, after a stint with Oakland in 72, where he got a World Series ring. So he turns up in Minnesota, has arguably the best year of his career, and then he'll have one more year and be out of the game. Big year for him. We'll see his stats in the Twin elimination video that's coming, we think. Here's the pitch to Jim Holt. 4-4 off fingers. There you go. Homer 1-9. It's a 2-base hit for Jim Holt. Second and third, 2 outs. It's Eric Soderholm. Let's take a look at Eric. Right in the middle of his Twin tenure here in 74, 276, 10 homers. Reliable at third, he's a 2. He would lose a little bit of his defensive prowess by the end of his career when he's with the White Sox and then the Yankees. But still, a likable player, good power hitter. Second and third, 2 outs. Here's the pitch, Eric Soderholm. 3-5 is a strikeout, and that is your ball game, folks. Not a whole lot of drama in this one. You kind of get these that just pop up, and you hope they're not in the playoffs, but they are. 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll take this right to the post game. The Oakland A's win 7-3 and complete a 3-game sweep of the Minnesota Twins, who stumble to the end of their season. Campbell in 2 1/3 faced Bando, right? Yeah. So you have a hit, 2 walks, and a K. 3 up, 3 down, and 1 more hit there. Tom Murphy. We have 3 hits and 2 runs in the 7th inning. A strikeout in the 6th, and a strikeout in the 5th. Garvin takes the defeat. He gives up 7 hits, 2 earned, 4 runs, 5 runs. 4 runs, yes. 4 runs. Tom Murphy also gave up that solo home run to Bando. Let's put that in there. There we go. 4 runs, only 2 of those are earned. That's an unearned run for Murphy as well, after the 2 outs in the error. Raleigh Fingers pitched the 9th inning, gave up 2 hits and 3 strikeouts. Bob Locker got 4 outs. Jim Holt struck out there, hit a walk and 2 Ks. Not the cleanest of games. Mike Torres gets the win. 9 hits, 3 runs. Error started that inning. 2 walks, strikeout. 1009, 010, 8 2/3. Let's see. Out. 2. Oh, we had a guy thrown out on the bases. He was thrown out on the Bando single. So Campbell was pitching that. Okay, so he gets credit for that guy getting thrown out of the bases. There we are. 1009, 0109, 713, 312. Murphy gave up the homer here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. Garvin only gave up 6 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. Oh, Garvin walked 1 and struck out 1. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1009, 0109, 712, 312, 3536. Well, the teams matched each other for hits and walks. They both had 12 hits. They both had 3 walks. An opportunistic error there. Some long balls. Too many home runs for one team. Too many singles for the Twins. Just that one double the ninth. Inconsequential by Holt. Didn't even drive in a run with it. That is the box for game number 3. Have the Oakland A's woken up? Is this the nightmare scenario for Baltimore, the White Sox, and then I guess the Ohio players, the other 3 teams who are still around? Boy, there's some really grudge matches on the horizon for the Oakland A's if they continue their season. Vida Blue pitches for the Ohio players. Of course, Baltimore and Oakland had a rivalry, and of course the White Sox and Oakland had a rivalry. The Twins finished the year just 25 and 23. They were once in first place, but they really struggled down the finish line here. They hit 290. Like I said, we love their average. We love the lineup. But of course, it didn't produce enough runs the last 3 games they played. They did have a 3.81 ERA. Bly limited 9 complete games. We'll have an elimination video for the Twins coming up tomorrow. Now, Oakland, wake up, everybody, like Harold Melvin's saying here. They're 22 and 17. They're hitting 253. It's an improvement from where they were hitting like 220 earlier in the year. Team ERA. Your Oakland A's is 297. Ooh. Yeah, folks. This is scary. These A's are scary. If you think they're going to just limp away and not compete for a repeat, I think you're wrong. I think Oakland's going to be a formidable foe for Baltimore and whoever wins the Ohio White Sox series if they meet. Yeah, these A's. They're the A's. Remember, they're cherry-picked to get the most opportunistic years out of Bando, Campaneris, Reggie, Dick Green, Joe Rudy, Gene Tennis. You know, the heroes of the Oakland Dynasty guys. They're in their best cards presently, we believe. 22-17 for Oakland. 25-23 for the Twins. So when we go to the postseason here, let's go to the wild card bit. Oakland gets a 3-0. They are 5 over 500. The Twins are 25 and 23. They're just 2 over 500. That's correct. And it's Oakland. Okay. Oakland as a 4 seed, 5 over 500. One, two. Oh, this is a 1. Okay, that reconciles. So, wild cards are over with. Not a lot of drama. You look at 12 and 2. Ohio stunned the Tigers 3 straight. You know, Tigers finished their season with a 6-game losing streak. Ouch. Twins fell hard at the end, as we just saw. Pittsburgh stumbled late, losing 7 out of 9 to the Mets with a reprieve between those series against the Giants. Arizona had a nice run, mostly coming back against the Dodgers, beating them up pretty soundly. But otherwise, they were 0-10 at one point. So the exiting teams, you know, deserve their fate. And then the final 8, the Elite 8s we would call them, here we are. So Baltimore is the 1, the White Sox are the 2, the Reds are the 1, Dodgers are the 2. The number 3 seeds held on. The Mets and the surprising Ohio players. So the 3 plays 2. And then in the American League, Oakland held on 4 against 1. All 4 division winners continue. The mild upset, it's not even an upset, I think they're probably the road favorite. Atlanta beating Arizona. The only wild card team still in the playoffs is Atlanta. But they're a really good team. Look at these teams that are 8 games over 500. You know, Oakland 5. Look at this. Oakland's got the here, and the White Sox there have the worst winning percentage. But boy, these 2 teams have been in some wars. I mean, these 2 talk about battle scars. Boy, the White Sox are a battle scarred team, as is Oakland, and that helps because it doesn't matter anymore, folks. We don't care about one loss anymore. This is straight old baseball, and with an interesting wrinkle in the divisional round is that our number 1 seeds play the 2-2-1-1-1 format that the NBA uses, meaning that Game 5 is at the top seed, not the 2-3-2 format. We'll use that again, of course, in the League Championship Series and the World Series. But we're using 2-2-1-1-1. And the idea of doing that is that we really want to give besides the bye, a lot of times teams with bye come out cold. Or for some reason, the teams with bye just don't play to their lofty seed. And giving them Game 5 at home helps to give them more of an advantage. That's all right. I mean, these teams who have just played are kind of cooking right now, folks. The Mets, oh, they want to play baseball. They're cooking. They just roasted 7-9, and they beat the Pirates 4-1. They beat the Phillies 2-1, and they beat the Pirates 3-1. So that's 9-3 baseball by the Mets. Braves are hot as well. They beat Arizona 3-1. They beat the Phillies 5-2. Ohio just swept. They beat everybody. They were at 500 at the All-Star break. Now they're +8. They beat 3-0 over Detroit, and of course, you just saw the Oakland A's. We know Oakland and Baltimore would meet a lot in 73 and 74. They're usually low-scoring pitcher duels between Catfish Hunter and Jim Palmer, and it's usually 1-0 or 2-1 with 3 solo homers in the game. Or Kenny Holtzman versus Mike Cuellar, 2-1, 1-0. You can look at the LCS series that unfolded in 73 and 74 from a historical perspective there. Here's an intriguing one. Ohio players with a lot of National League talent, playoff experience players, kind of a ragtag bunch, though, surrounding them. Clear disparity in talent depth. The key to this thing is depth. The White Sox have 20 players who all have a job. And this is one of the most complete rosters we've assembled is the White Sox. Is it the best roster? I don't know. But for the best 20-man roster, it's the White Sox of all these 8 teams. And the Ohio players certainly don't have that. So the White Sox just have to keep this going long. They have virtually no chance of losing a 7-game series. But they could be on the hook if this Ohio player team rips off 4, 5, or 6 a 6-game series victory there, you know. And the Reds, they don't have a distinction. They're the Reds. They're in their own little private world. It's their world championship to give away. They're the World Series champion, folks. I'm just telling you that now. They've already won this thing. But if they want to give it away, Atlanta will take it. And then Mets-Dodgers winner, they'll take it too if the Reds want to give their World Series ring away. So, there you go, folks. For now, though, gotta say it. Break up the defending world champion Oakland A's dominant 3-game sweep of the Minnesota Twins. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.